Welcome to Planet Capable. Tonight we're going to talk about the impact of being really included in the community by doing events that are not formulated into some sort of supportive thing where you just get together as people and what that means to the world. I'm Mike Rogers.
I'm Alex Jesco.
I'm Jerry. Oh, my name is Sam Matthew.
Jim?
Yeah, my name is Jim Jowsey.
That's the gang, y'all.
I am Lee Allen Hartley.
That's what we were waiting for.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. So, Sam, tell us who you are.
My name is Samuel Matthew. I am a person with a disability. I have cerebral palsy and epilepsy. I am the executive director of Center for Self-Advocacy. But for this program, I am just me.
Okay, what about you, Jim?
Well, my name is Jim Jowsey, and I have been a self-directed staff for about 18 years.
Okay.
I get to work with actually some directly, some indirectly, but I get to work with all you guys, and I'm pretty happy to do it.
Well, we're glad to have you. We don't usually get to have Jim on a lot of our podcasts or Sam, so welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right. So the other day, Alex and I were just chit-chatting, and we were talking about the impact of our Muddy Wheels events and the fact that we went to Tift Nature Preserve and we just invited the community. That it wasn't, I mean, it was scheduled, but it wasn't something where we said, come help disabled people, have a table. Now we're going to have those kind of things maybe in the future, but our Muddy Wheels events are not those. We just get together and we do meetups. And we were talking about how that's not something you generally see for people with disabilities in our society. And we were saying how important it was that we really connect. When you think about that, Alex, what comes to your mind?
Connecting as a society?
Yes.
Connecting as a society means basically that we connect by virtue of not only our struggles, but what makes us similar and the things that allow us the ability to recognize that we are human in a variety of forms. Whether that's, recognizing the fact that like people with disabilities can go for a walk in nature too, just like everybody else, or just going for coffee and just connecting in the way of an everyday human being. Oftentimes human beings make a lot more distinctions towards each other than making similarities. And I think if we actually did the opposite, we'd live in a much more peaceful world in certain ways. So
Now, Sam, we're roommates. Let's be honest in this context. Anyway,
No, Mike, I'm gonna lie through the whole thing. Like I don't have a roommate, guys.
well, usually I pay you to say good things about me, but um, when we are in the community, it's kind of always a struggle to show ourselves as just people, or there always has to be a angle. What event are you guys at? What are you supporting? What are you doing? Why are you here? What, because you said to me after we got done with the event the other day, we need to get 30 people to this. Why do you think it was important? You've been to a couple of them.
I think it's important because one, it's fun. You know, I think that's the most important thing is that it's fun, and nobody's sitting there going, 1, 2, 3, 4 people with disabilities. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, people without disability. I think we were just there to have a good time, support outside the box, and the people that were there, disabled and not, were there to have fun and support outside the box.
Yeah, and some of us got together, had lunch after. It was very organic.
Yeah.
So, Lee, why is this stuff important to you? Why do you take the time to go to the ones that you can?
Nope. We have a tendency to be shut-ins because we feel protected in our homes.
I like the fact that you said that, Lee. We have a tendency to be shut-ins because we feel protected. And Alex and I were talking the other day, and we said that these events and what we do, our philosophy at Outside the Box, is to let people branch out and take risks and do things that they haven't done before, experience things that excite them and excite other people, and maybe,
Yes.
yeah, and maybe can be a little scary. Like Jim, let me ask you, when it comes to these events, I know that we look at the place and we kind of make sure that it's relatively safe for people. But what is it like being a person, I know that you are, that likes people to branch out and see this kind of stuff happen and be a part of it because you're a part of the events that we do versus what we normally see in a lot of our systems in making the world kind of safe for everything for people with disabilities. How have you seen like people grow and different things like that?
Well, I mean, from a staffing standpoint, I mean, obviously, part of the reason I'm there is for, the safety aspect of it. I mean, I'm the one that had the first aid kit and the snacks on my back. So that's one point of it. But you get kind of torn because you want people to explore and you want people to, reasonable risk and to go out and have these experiences. But at the same time, in the back of your mind, you've still got that caretaker mentality, and it's like when you and Sam were on the, well, I'll take it back a couple months ago when, Alex and I went and scoped the place out and we took those boardwalks through the wetlands. I'm just walking on these boards and I'm like, yeah, there's no way in hell that we're going to be able to have, somebody who uses a motorized wheelchair on here. It's just kind of too heavy. They're kind of rickety, you're going to end up, in 2 feet of water.
Yeah.
And you and Sam just, be damned. It was wonderful to see, but I do have to say that, I was nervous, man. I was nervous that you guys were doing that. And, I mean, it ended up, it was fine. There was nothing dangerous about it, but when you've been doing it for a while, you just, sometimes you think the worst.
And that's just a natural human response. I mean, a lot of us are like, okay, what are the risks here? Realistically, it's not even about the fact that you're a person with a disability. It's just like, okay, realistically, here's what we're presented with. How do we problem solve this, or how do we work through this? And that's all there is to it. It's not really about being a person with a disability as much as it is just like making sure people are safe for our event at the end of the day. So that's what the reality is. So
I mean, was I glad that you guys, you know, did it? Absolutely.
yeah, 100%.
Was I nervous? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm kind of a be damned kind of thing. I always want to take the risks. I mean, you know me, Sam. What I mean, what what do you think when we're out in the community, as our system calls it, and we take risks all the time. We do things that people don't think we should do. Talk about that a little bit.
I just think, for the system, as we say, has always been, you know, risk averse. And I think the potential that people can have is limiting, because of people's ideas that they get from the state that mandates these things, and not that those mandates aren't in a caring way. It starts out in a caring way, but it ends up, when it's regulation, then it ends up being, oh, I can't do that because the system says we can. I think the experience that we have in society is, yes, it's sheltering, because, we haven't had those experiences. When we sit there and cross the bridge, I didn't sit there and go, you know what, Jim, check this out. And I'm not going to go on this bridge. I didn't know what bridge he checked out. So I knew the bridge that we couldn't get on. And we had to back pedal it to the other side. That's what bridge I thought he was talking about. I didn't think it was the bridge that me and you went on. Like,
Yeah, me either. I thought it was the one with the lip that we couldn't get up. I didn't think.
yeah.
I go on rickety things all the time. Heck, I own a van that I think is going to rattle apart most of the time because it's too hard to buy another one because they're expensive. So,
So,
um,
Alex, knowing that Jim was thinking about more than that one bridge, what was your thought as
Um,
me and Mike went on that bridge?
so honestly, my immediate thought after looking at what you guys were trying to do and looking at the bridge, I was like, oh yeah, there's no way. There was just no way. So, immediately I'm turning around going, okay, that's not what's gonna be what this is. So thankfully, TIFF, there's a variety of paths. So we just took a different path. And I think that's the most organic response to that kind of situation. Because it's not like we're gonna sit there and go, okay, show's over. We're not doing this anymore. We're going home. Like, we don't give up. We push through, we find a way, we make it work. And that's kind of my mentality about it. Because frankly, in my opinion, adversity is what helps us grow quite a bit. So when we come across an obstacle where we're like, oh, what's this? This is new. I don't know how to handle this. Or if it's just something in daily life where we come across, we're like, oh, okay, it's okay, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we learn
Yep.
to become accommodating to a world that may not be accommodating to us. And it doesn't need to be accommodating all the time.
So was the bridge we were on one of the bridges that you looked at?
That one, the one we actually walked on, yes, we actually did walk on that one, and we did decide that one was doable. However, the other one that the other group that split off that walked on, we didn't walk on that one specifically.
Okay.
Um,
Back.
welcome back. So yeah. Also, to be completely honest, I don't have the best memory. So when we started walking in the direction of the first bridge, I completely forgot that we had not actually looked at that bridge specifically. So
And yeah, I thought that was okay. I was like, we're just going along with whatever, you know.
yeah, and that's totally
The
it.
guy that came along with me was walking on it. I'm like, well, it supports him. But when I do things, people call me. They say that you have something off about you, or you're rogue all the time. And I'm like, I'm rogue. I'm just doing what everybody else does. And they're like, oh, we've never seen that before. I've
Yeah.
gotten that a couple of, and I'm like, what? Going outside? You know,
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of something that happened this morning, if you don't mind my little tangent.
go ahead.
I was walking outside to go do some errands with a friend of mine, and this lady stops her car and goes, "You're doing great, buddy. Good job." And I'm sitting there like, I'm just walking down the street. Like, what? Like why is this such a big deal? I understand.
Because you're on crutches,
Yeah.
Alex. Because you're on crutches.
Weird, Alex. You're outside.
Um,
On the
there you go.
And I mean, don't get me
Look at
wrong.
the disabled person in the community. Wow.
I know
Yeah.
I'm such an inspiration. I know.
I know.
But and it's those kind of comments are not a bad thing. Let me just preface that. I don't mind those things. However, when those things come across, you have to understand it's like this is just an average Monday for me. This is not oh my God, I decided to do something inspirational today. This is I'm just walking on the sidewalk. Why are you making a big deal of this?
I know. I was, well, I want to ask you a question in a second, Lee, but I was recently taught how to use an elevator. When I went to the doctor, a fellow patient told me that the elevator goes from floor 4 to floor 1, and it goes from to 3 to 2 to 1, and people come out. And I was like,
Well,
really? Yeah, okay. I mean, so those normal everyday things that people do, people sometimes think are shocking and revolutionary. Lee, I wanted to ask you, you're a person with some speech difficulties, as well as other disabilities. How do you live everyday life so that it's positive and people see what you can do? Yeah, and you can take a moment to make your speech device happen there.
and while you're doing that, Alex, I do want to ask you a question.
Oh,
Did they
okay.
give you a name?
For
'Cause I know when they stop me and Mike, they're always like, "Are you John or Jim or Bob?"
no.
Or,
No, not usually, but
no.
sometimes they do ask, like, do you know this person? Do you know that
Yep.
person? It's like we don't all know each other. Like,
And
believe it or not, like we're not a hive mind of collective people with disabilities. We're not the Borg.
If we did, we could have our own country.
Exactly.
did they make you a new like superhero from the X-Men? Because usually they say you're fantagolistic and all this kind of stuff to me just because I open my eyes.
I just tell I just tell them I'm a unicorn. I got 4 legs and I'm special. So it works.
While Lee's typing there, Jim, when I worked for an agency, we would ask people what they did, what they've been doing, and a lot of times the people that support people in the agency will go, "Tell them guys what we've been doing," and I'm like, "Well, no, that's not the question we asked. We asked, what do you do outside of when you're at the program?" And there was an awkwardness there. What do you feel about that, and do you have any thoughts about traditional supports versus people just being themselves in the community?
Um, I'm struggling to understand your example.
Well, let me clarify that. Sure, that's fine. That's fine. Like if I were to ask you what you did this weekend, you
Okay.
know, you would just say what you did versus your support people automatically going to some going to something that the agency did with you instead of just letting you respond or maybe not respond to the just the naturalness of saying what did you do, what have you been up to, what do you do when you're not in program or when you're not at work or whatever. What do you think about that?
You mean staff? So a person
And
is
what
asked a
they
question
think
and
about
staff
it,
go to,
what the agency offers.
well,
Yeah.
unfortunately for a lot of folks, I think, I mean, you're not going to like this answer. Okay. But folks like you and Alex and Lee and Sam, you guys are a lot more independent in the, I'm going to use all the buzzwords, man. You guys are a lot more independent in the community than a lot of other people. A lot of other people, you know, don't necessarily have those same opportunities, especially, people who live, in certified sites and group homes, and have to go out in the community with staff. And I'm not saying that this is acceptable, but a lot of times those are the only social opportunities that are offered to certain people, especially when they live in a certified site. And it stinks, but
It's not
you know,
organic.
yeah, but a lot of times these are the opportunities that are offered.
You're
Yeah, but
right.
I think what Mike is saying is like, we want the people to say it, and they're prompting them on what they should say instead of just waiting for them to say it.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe they would say, other than our services, we don't get to go a lot of places,
Mhm.
and that's an actual truthful answer, and that's why we want people to start to get these experiences so they can say, yeah, I did something outside of program.
Mhm.
I did something outside of the norm for me. And like Lee said, we're protected, we're we're sheltered, and stuff like that. And I think you bring up a good point, Jim. Is of course you're going to be that way if that's the only opportunity provided. And I think society has to start to provide opportunities because we know it needs to be that way, that people don't grow without those opportunities. So
Society provides plenty of opportunities. It's up to people like you and Alex and Sam to take the opportunities that we did 2 Saturdays ago and spread the word better to make these opportunities. It's not even the fact that we're making them available because they're always available, but of putting the word out. I mean, we can go in 10 different directions with this conversation as far as what the breakdown is. I mean, is it the fact that nobody knows what's going on anymore? Is it the fact that there's people that you know are stuck in their group homes all weekend because there's not enough staffing, because you got to have 6 to 1. you know I
well,
mean,
yeah,
we could
yeah.
we could sit here for the next 2 hours, and talk about ways to make the system better.
Right. But what is the
But
reality?
but the bottom line is the opportunities already exist.
It's a matter
It's
of
a ma-
actually
it's
getting out
it's a
there.
matter of getting out there and doing it, which is what groups like outside the box. This was a lot of fun 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
We
It
should
was
be doing it
awesome.
more often,
Mhm. Mhm.
more than once a year.
Would be
And
ideal.
you bring up an interesting point because I have these and I'm going to debate a little bit here, and I'm going to see what people say because I think you're right. The opportunity does exist, but when I promote our events, people know about them. They'll be like, How did that go?" And I'll be like, "You should have went." And I'm not talking about people with disabilities. I'm
No.
talking about just
Everybody,
people in general, with and without disabilities.
everybody.
Part of the struggle is, you know, um, people expect people with disabilities to just be natural and go out there and try things, right? And we support that. But one of the biggest things that I've always said is people without disabilities have to start encouraging people like you do, Jim, to do things with them. I mean, because growing up, I had a lot of people like say, "Oh, you would have wanted to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?"
Yeah.
And because they just thought because I have a disability that I wouldn't want to do it, so they didn't invite me. And
Yeah.
I think we have to have support from all people to be able to do stuff. Because just like any other human being, you need that, emotional support to say, "Come on, let's do it." So
Mm.
I think there's a lot of angles that need to be addressed in having fun, because people think we don't want to do it. They think like we just want to be a certain way. And I
So
don't think that's the case.
so
So
I'm at the fair, right? Hang on. I'm going to give you
okay.
guys a prime example. So I'm at the fair um a few weeks ago, okay? And I was talking to the folks that run Excalibur. You guys familiar with Excalibur?
Yep.
The boating
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
boating.
Yes, they take people out, they take folks out on a boat, and they take them fishing, or they take them boating, or they take them whatever else, okay? Did you know that that's free?
Did not. I did not.
That anybody can do that? They
I
do
also
not charge for that.
I wouldn't assume that it would be free in the first place. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
But you could give a donation though.
Of course you can, but you can do anything you want. But what I'm saying is for a group of people, I mean, maybe that can be an outside the box outing. I
That'd be
don't
great.
know,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
right.
I mean, but they don't charge for it.
Right.
I think that's amazing,
That is amazing.
and the fact that this organization's been around for as long as it's been around, and they're stuck in the conservation building with us, from the Trappers Association and Trout Unlimited. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
we all do our thing during the fair, but I just that blew me away when he told me, because I was asking a bunch of questions. He told me that they don't charge for it.
mhm,
That absolutely blew me away. So why aren't more people doing it?
mhm.
And
Right.
I guess
I
that's the question, that you ask yourself. Because honestly, I think I went on that when I was like young or something. I thought it went out of business. I only, thought about it again because I think you mentioned it, Jim, the other day. And I'm like, that's still around.
Right.
Oh, we must be talking about two different things.
Yeah.
There.
Just really quickly, one of the things that I would say too is that we have to also consider the fact that again, it's not just about the supports that are helping people with disabilities get out there, getting to these events or whatever. You also have to consider that people with disabilities just also they just don't feel they have the ability to go out and do the things they want to do. And so is it up to the support just to encourage them to do it, or is it up to the person to say, you know what, I'm really tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again. I want to do something different. There's got to be something to be said about being a little bit self-motivated beyond, having your support staff encourage you, because frankly, self-motivation is what gets us out there and doing things in that way too. So
Yeah.
I also think there's something to be said about that, because frankly, there's a lack of self-motivation in certain ways in that regard. Lee, I want to go to you
Yeah.
before we continue, because Lee, you've had your hand up forever. So go
Yeah,
ahead, Lee.
that's what I was gonna say. These men like waiting patiently. They going, I'm gonna say something.
Maybe it's a fact that people don't have the vote. Says
That people don't have a vote.
no, they don't want to have the vote. The same.
They don't have
Oh,
the
it's a big
boat
enough
for-
boat, man. You know, nothing to say.
It's a big enough boat. They would make it work.
It's a big enough boat. By the way, we're up 13-0 end of the first quarter.
I know. I'm watching it.
It's,
Oh,
We're doing this. We're watching it on our phones or whatever.
Okay, but
I agree. I think it's a lot of those things. But I love what you said, Alex, about people taking their own initiative. I agree with that. But what you said also, is it up to support staff? I'm not even talking about support staff.
oh yeah, no, I'm just saying it to say it. I wasn't responding to what you said. I'm just saying it to say it. Because frankly, a lot of people with disabilities tend to have a belief that, oh, I can't do that because of X, or I can't do that because of Y. Have you tried? Have you done it? Have you given it a shot?
Right.
I'm gonna throw something out there. Okay, let's say you have 20 people with disabilities in a club, a dance club or whatever, right? 20, 30 people with disabilities. One person is able-bodied. How comfortable is that one person that is able-bodied in that group? And that's how we feel every time we go out in the community.
That's an interesting scenario, Sam. That's an interesting scenario because I remember Alex the other week you say this to me a lot. Why does it seem like you say this about yourself? You
Mhm.
say, why does it seem like I'm the only one out there, right?
Yeah.
One with people as a person with a disability out there, and there may be other people out there, because there's Sam and I and Lee but it does feel like you're on you're on an island by yourself sometimes when
Mhm.
you venture out to build that new world that we want to see, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just say this, and the thing at Tips Park, I went because I wanted to support outside the box. I wanted to be outside. I never went to Tips Park, and it was like 5 minutes away from us. And then after that, we got to hang out with Alex
Yeah.
and his friends.
Yeah.
That is a normal thing that people do every freaking weekend.
Exactly. Exactly.
Every day.
And that's what should be normalized. That's what should be the norm. It shouldn't be this whole, I mean, yes, I'm glad we created the event, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad that also you got to experience that too, simply because that's what it is in that sense. And I really dislike the word normalized or normal because there is such thing as normal. Everybody's weird. But the fact of the matter is, we're just people trying to show the world that we're people at the end of the day, which is really, really silly if you think about it, but it's necessary. But it's
Like, I'm
necessary.
showing you I want to be in the community. Well, you need to speak up more. But we are speaking up.
Oh yeah, we are there.
And doing
But
this stuff. Oh, did I interrupt somebody?
Go ahead.
no,
And doing this stuff, it makes me always think about what people say about the community. Well, we want people with disabilities to go in the community like it's on another planet. We're gonna venture. We're gonna get on the ship and go in the community. When I like to tell people, we're in the community already. We just got to realize that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
Well, And it's not just us either, it's them too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like you said, us and them, and
yeah.
there shouldn't be an us and them. It should just be all of us.
It'd be, yeah, us as a
And
collective.
hopefully we get there sooner than later, right?
Yeah. Well, the more we do, the more we show up, the better it gets. So
I do want to hang out with Lee though. I think Lee would be fun to hang out with.
Oh, Lee's a riot. Are you kidding me? Lee's great.
He is a mold that was broken right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, this has been a great conversation, guys, and you know, our shameless plug is the more and more events Outside the Box does with that promote inclusion, whether it be a training, going out in the community or in society.
Mhm.
We want all people to come to it, learn, soak in, interact,
Be a
just like
part.
any other human being.
Yeah, come be a part with us.
Yeah. You know, life is short. Live it. Live it. You know,
Absolutely.
live life. And so we want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Thank you.
What?
Thank you, Sam.
Oh, what's up, Lee?
Lee said, wait.
Okay, we're gonna wait. See, we
Lee's gonna say something. Yeah. Alex, have you made an avatar on Zoom before?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Have you made an avatar on Zoom before?
I have not. This is the first time I'm seeing an avatar on Zoom.
You
look-
should make one.
You look very round. I like
Thank
it.
you.
so it looks like that regular anyway. So
I call this Business Sam.
Business Sam.
Business Sam.
Dude, it should be your face, man. You are the business.
should be. It looks like them.
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead, dude.
When I lived in Australia back in 1978, my dad made a point of pointing out to me that there were no disabled people in the community.
Okay, wait a second. There's a lot to unpack there. First of all, why didn't I know that you used to live in Australia? Number one. Number
Yeah.
two, also really cool thing that, I mean, really cool, but also kind of weird that there's no other disabled people in Australia. At least not that you saw. We're not going to include,
Well,
People
that
with
was back
invisible
in
disease.
1978, though.
and we've existed long before then. What's the
Millions
point?
of years.
Anyway, yeah, but we'll definitely have to talk about that, Lee, because I would like to know. I would like
Yeah,
to hear your Australian accents, by the by.
Yeah, you got to make a digital Australian accent.
Yeah, we definitely gotta unpack that. Lee.
Right, man.
There you go. There you go. Not to cause any offense to Australians, of course. But anyway, but yeah, this has been great, guys. Thank you for the conversation. This has been awesome.
Yeah, come back. Watch our other listen to our other episodes as well.
For sure.
And I have to say, you know, if you got a disabled friend, that you always say, hey, hang out, let's hang out, and you never hang out. Hang out.
Actually hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
if you have that non-disabled friend, do the same thing.
Absolutely. Do what you got to do, love what you got to love, and we'll be here for all of it.
Right now, with disabled and able.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do it all. We got all kinds of flavors on this planet. You got to taste them all.
It's like going on a social cruise ship.
Damn right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you guys for this opportunity. I enjoyed it. Jim, I'll see you later.
Yeah. Please join
Alex,
us.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great
All
night,
right.
guys. See you soon.
Bye.
See you later.
Mm.